back to another episode of Love and Gratitude. I hope you're doing well and I hope that you're enjoying your day and that you're happy and healthy. I noticed that we haven't learned anything new lately because in my previous episodes I was talking more about my life and about my experience and like telling you stories, and that's why I decided to talk about a cool topic today. It's quite interesting because I was reading about this a lot and it's something that I learned recently because of reading certain books. Like we're gonna talk about the pain body today and what it is and what's all about and how it's created, and that the pain body is all within us. And this is also something that we have to pay attention to and take it serious because it's very well connected to the ego of the human being. And like I already told you that your ego is within you, but also it's always you versus your ego, but also you with your ego all the time. Like your ego can be your biggest enemy, also your best friend. So so what is surrounding us, the ego or the pain body. And I was reading this book, it's called A New Earth from Eckhart Tolle, and I have another book from Eckhart Tolle. It's written by Eckhart Tolle. He's the author of that book, and he's talking about the ego and the pain body a lot in this book, and also in the book The Power of Now. Probably you know it, because he's like describing how the ego is working and how we're feeding the ego and how our emotions are working together and with the ego and everything, and also like how is the pain body working and what we can do about that. So it's quite interesting. If you're interested in exploring and knowing more about the ego and the pain body, you can read those books. It's actually cool. Or you can simply listen to this episode, to this podcast, because I also talk a lot about the ego and the pain body, because it's how can I explain? Because it's we always, like almost always all the time, we act with ego or like ego based, egocentric, and which is not healthy, of course, because unfortunately we are not really connected with our soul, with the pure side of us. And we often forget that the body is stronger than the mind, and that we are actually stronger than the ego, and like the soul is actually stronger than the ego. And that's why working towards your soul, towards your real true self, is like one of the most important tasks we have to complete in our lives. And that's why we are gonna talk about the pain body. And I think about the ego I talked already so many times, but this time, and of course, I'm still going to continue talking about the ego, because everything refers to the ego, actually. I don't know if you noticed, but, everything is ego-based. And, I'm trying to help everyone and also myself to look from another perspective, to change the perception, because it's all about the perception. And because, unfortunately, so many people, they are, acting unconscious, and they're making unconscious decisions. And I'm here to help you and to help myself to see it from another side, to see it from the soul perspective, to be connected with our souls and to be more calm and chill, actually. Because when you're connected with your ego and when you're handling the situations with your ego, then it turns out very bitter, actually, like the situations or everything like this. You can't just simply find a solution for the problems, because the ego likes to create more problems, and it seems like there is no end to this to this torture. But it's definitely time to change, and definitely time to shift our energy and our frequency towards our soul and towards a better version of ourselves. And you can of course read this book, like as I said, it's called A New Earth, and there he also talks about the new energy of this earth and of the people, because as I said, the frequency is shifting and the earth is shifting like everything else. And we people, we are tending to be more conscious and, you know, to regain our consciousness, actually, like to get it back, because you know, unfortunately, this world or this system is created or programmed to change us and to lower our vibration and our frequency, so we lose our consciousness. But now it's time to change, definitely and finally, and I'm so happy. And that's why I also started this podcast, because so you can listen to it and I can listen to it, and, you know, I can educate myself and you can educate yourself. So it's like a win-win, you know, like you help yourself and I help myself. So I help you and I help myself too, so why not, you know? It's super cool. So let's get into the topic. The pain body. What is the pain body? The pain body is, you know, in Eckhart Tolle's teachings, the pain body refers to a collection of repressed negative emotions, traumas, and unresolved experiences that can unconsciously influence our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And it's essentially a shadow aspect of the self that can negatively impact our well-being and relationships without even knowing, you know. And imagine the pain body is not like a body, like not the word body like you can imagine, but more like a shadow, you know, more like a shape, which is alive inside of yourself, you know, which is living inside of yourself and inside of your head or wherever you want to have it. But it is within you, and it's getting created by those negative emotions and negative feelings. And the pain accumulated in your body is a negative energy field that occupies your body and mind. If you look at it as an invisible entity on its own right, you are getting quite close to the truth. It's the emotional pain body, and you have to really pay attention to it and to notice it, because then you will be able to see the pain body and to become aware of that, so you can try to control it, but not more like control it, but more like you know, like paying attention to it, but having it under control. Because, you know, I believe that you cannot fully control everything like for 100%, but you can control it for like 90%, or like at least become conscious about it. And so you can change your habits or your routines or whatever, or change yourself or change your mindset or your way of thinking, your mentality, so you can become a better version of yourself, you know. So you can let your ego or your pain body work for you, instead of you working for your ego and your pain body. And of course, you also have to watch out for any signs of unhappiness in yourself, or also traumas or negative energies or triggers, you know, whatever things are triggering you, because in whatever form, it may be the awakening pain body. This can take the form of irritation, impatience, or a somber mood, you know, and a desire to hurt or anger, rage or depression, and a need to have some drama in your relationships or in your life, or within your life or within your environment. Because yeah, as I said, like the ego and the pain body is like pushing it more, and you know, so you gain more energy and more strength for your pain body, because then you always seek for drama and for negative just negative emotions or experiences. And the pain body always wants to survive, just like your ego and just like every other entity in existence, because, you know, we all want to survive, and every other entity in this life. And it can then rise up, take you over, become you, and live through you. And it needs to get its food through you, and the food is simply the negative emotions and whatever, you know, your thoughts, like your negative thoughts and whatever, or even your words and the way you treat others, or the way you treat yourself in a negative way. And it needs to get its food through you, through the negative mindset, and it will feed on any experience that resonates with its own kind of energy. Anything that creates further pain in whatever form, like anger, destructiveness, or hatred, grief, emotional drama, violence, and even illness or mental illness. Pain can only feed on pain. Remember this. Once the pain body has taken you over, you want more pain and you become a victim or a perpetrator. So be aware of what you're feeling, what you're doing, and what you're thinking, because the pain body is always behind your mind, and just like your ego, and its survival also depends on your unconscious identification with it, as well as your unconsciousness fear of facing the pain that lives in you. So the ego doesn't want to become conscious, remember, because the ego can only stay within your head when it's controlling you and when it's controlling your mind, just like the pain body. And as I said, the pain only wants more pain, because it can survive only with pain. But when you start to become conscious, and when you start to heal yourself and heal your traumas and your triggers and everything, or your bad relationships, whatever is harming you and your mental health, then your pain body will start to dissolve, your ego will start to dissolve, and you will be finally in control of you. And also, do not resist your pain, because you have to surrender to the grief, because surrendering is the most important thing you can actually do. Surrendering to the grief, to despair, to fear, to anger, to loneliness, to your depression, or whatever is making you feeling bad or sick, and witness it without labeling it mentally. This is also very important. Like, just let it go or let it flow. You don't even have to let it go. Just be chill and be easy going with it, and everything will be fine. And allow it to be there and embrace it, and then see how the miracle of the surrender transmutes deep suffering into deep peace. And this is actually what Eckhart Tolle is all the time saying in his books or in his podcast. Maybe you already listened to him, because he always just talks simply about how to get your pain body and your ego in control, or how to get it in a more easy balance, because you have to be in harmony and in balance with everything in your life, your ego, your pain body, or even the happiness, or the moments, or the gratitude, or everything. And because everything that is too much will be a harm, and just try to not be obsessed with anything, and find an easy and healthy balance within yourself and within everything. And also, Eckhart Tolle, he also says that the pain that you create now is always some form of non-acceptance. So whatever you're not accepting, or you're having a hard time accepting something, then that it can refer to the pain body, and it can actually trigger the pain body and your ego. So it will be, it will become a mental illness kind of, and it will be a bigger trigger for you, and it will stay in your body as a little trauma. So it's better for you to heal yourself and to create a better environment for yourself, like a healthy environment, and whatever is bothering you, whatever you cannot accept or you're having a hard time to accept, is a warning for you to handle that situation, to solve that problem, and to find a solution actually, because otherwise, as I said, your pain body will only grow bigger as your ego, and it will become an unconscious resistance. And the level of thought, the resistance is some form of judgment, and on the emotional level, it is some form of negativity. The intensity of the pain depends on the degree of resistance to the present moment, and this in turn depends on how strongly you're identified with your mind and with your ego and with your pain body. And the mind always seeks to deny the now and to escape from it. And that's why it's so important to be present, and to live in the now. And in other words, the more you are identified with your mind, the more you suffer, just like your pain body. Or you may put it like this: the more you're able to honor and accept the now, the more you're free of pain, of suffering, and free of the egoic mind. And this is also a quote of Eckhart Tolle, so maybe you can use it for yourself. And also always remember that, you know, your mind has to work for you and not you for the mind, because the mind is always connected with your ego. Because unfortunately, when you're someone with a huge pain body or a huge ego, then for you it will be even more difficult to, you know, surrender and to accept the now. And because, you know, your ego will suffer and your ego doesn't want to suffer, so your ego wants to survive. It's an entity that wants to survive constantly. And, you know, the goal here is not to eliminate the ego or the pain body, but the goal is definitely to, you know, work together and to let the ego or, you know, the pain body work for you, and to be able to control your thoughts and your emotions. Because when you're dealing with a problematic situation or with some certain situation which is uncomfortable for you, then the ego will simply overtake, and it will be, you know, the ending will be even worse, because then it will go wrong. Everything will go wrong because you're acting with your ego. And I mean, not you're acting, but simply your ego is acting, and it will be more difficult to find a healthy and harmonious solution for any problem or your situation. And then you will have an even bigger problem, you know. So why, you know, I'm asking you, like, why you're connected with your ego, and why you don't want to leave your ego behind and be more conscious and, you know, acting more in a more conscious way, and more with love and gratitude and happiness, and with the positive emotions and feelings. Because, you know, it will change your whole perspective and your whole perception. And it always works. Like, whenever I'm dealing with a bad or negative situation or with negative people, I'm first like, okay, like, you know, I can even hear my ego talking to me in a negative way or in a bad way, and I'm like, okay, just stop, you know, I don't want to be identified with my ego. But I'm like, more like, okay, first calm down, you are not your ego, and be conscious, you know, be first of all, be grateful for whatever you're experiencing now, because it always takes you forward, like it brings you forward and it helps you to grow. And then I'm like, you know, first calming down, and then I'm thinking, and, you know, always separating the ego and you, like, because whatever you're thinking, the negative thoughts are not you, but it's your ego. And then, you know, I'm like, okay, first, I'm very grateful for this situation, and second, I would like to, you know, just leave this situation, because it's, first of all, it's like giving my ego more strength and more food, you know. And second, it's bad for my energy, because I feel my energy shift in a negative way, and I don't want this, like, because it's harming me and it's harming my mental health. So I'm leaving this, you know, I'm not even dealing with that, because it's not worth it, you know, it's not worth it. It's not worth your time, it's not worth your energy and whatever. So take care of yourself, you know, and be aware of what you're doing, what you're thinking, and in whatever condition you might be or situation you might be, always keep it in the back of your head that the pain body and the ego is always behind you, and like within you actually, and it's not always you. Most of the time it's your ego. And also, like, pay attention to not grow your pain body, because, yeah, as I said, the pain body likes pain, and so you have to suffer more in order for your pain body to grow more, you know. So, and we don't really want to experience pain or like negative emotions, because, you know, it will lead into depression or mental illnesses. So take good care of yourself and remember my words, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something new today, because this is always the goal, to learn something new every day and to become better, even if it's just 1%. And yeah, I'm leaving you now, and take good care of yourself and stay with love and gratitude.